Okay, so my name is Selma Sims. I'm the farm manager with Gardeneers, a nonprofit in Chicago. Okay, so we tend to grow crops that our students have told us they are interested in and they will eat. Because as a farmer, you can grow what you want to grow all you want to, but will you still be farming in 10 years? That's a whole different question. You have to grow for who you're feeding. So, things that we grow here. Okra. This is actually, this is real mature. This is too big. But we have things like okra. We have collards. We have garlic. We have tomatoes. We have summer squash. We have winter squash. We have various watermelon. We have broccoli, cauliflower, eggplant. We still have bunching onions. We have chard, kale, collards, beets, turnips, radishes. I missed cucumbers. I'm missing someone. Cucumbers. So the foods we grow are most of the foods you can find in the grocery store. It's just a different variety. Maybe you haven't seen a purple pepper. Yeah, I have purple beauty bell peppers all the way in the back on the left. I'll get you some if you want. Here, send you home with one. To showcase that, hey, the food you've eaten, I know that's all we have access to here. But there's other types that you may like, that you may not have interacted with. Kind of like people. You may not know if you like that person. You haven't met them. Same for food. Don't eat the person, but eat the food. And that's really what we grow. We grow everything you can find in a grocery store. It just might be a different color.
Okay, I am Dr. Myra Sampson. I am the principal and the chief educational officer of CCA. I am also the founder, started the school in 1978 for students who were out of school, providing them a high school diploma, but wanted to provide them a second chance for high school diploma, for earning one. And when we initially started, we had about 66% of the kids who completed and went on to 4-year post-secondary institutions. And we have grown and we have changed as the community changed. And because many of our students have children, we thought it would be wonderful to teach them how to eat, how to feed their children so they can raise healthy families. And so we started off in what is now one of our parking lots, and we just started out with 2 grow beds. And we expanded our healthy foods curriculum from 2 weeks to 10 weeks so that we could put an emphasis on it. How do you grow food? How do you plan menus? How do you do things very economically? Contrasting the price and the cost of fast food with if you buy something and prepare it in a more healthy way at home. And then we kept growing the garden.
So this garden is created using permaculture design principles. Permaculture meaning permaculture, permanent agriculture. So the idea really is very much in line with the one-star revolution idea, which is to just be here when it's needed, but pretty much leave everything to itself. So if you could see, we have, it's built under the principle of 8 layers. So we have our overstory, then our understory trees, and then we have our shrub layer and perennials. We have bulbs in here. We have vines, ground cover, and grasses. So all kinds of the 8 layers are all in here. And as I mentioned earlier, we use a technique called hugelkultur. So hugelkultur is a German technique where you dig into the soil, you put in all kinds of logs, and then you just do it's composting in place, pretty much. Your browns and your greens and your browns and your greens, dead material, alive material, and then you put soil on top, you open up the piles, and then you just plant right into it. So you can see this is the fruit of our labor, and we don't really water in here. So this year was a little bit difficult because of the heat, but usually it just relies on rainwater. And then as far as like sculptures and benches, we don't really have benches in here. We use as much natural materials as we can. So we have one sculpture here from Indira Johnson's, and she's the artist for it, and it was the emerging Buddha, and it was for peace. So it was a symbol. It's a symbol of peace, and the 10 most violent communities in Chicago received 10 Buddha heads, and then the idea of it was each community could keep 5 Buddha heads, and then the other 5 would go into other communities. So it's been a rolling art piece.
Yeah, so I work as a garden educator, and then I help support our After School Matters program. So North Lawndale College Prep, which is kitty corner to there was a class of students and a teacher who started the first 3 garden beds in the garden, and then the school reached out to us the year after. So the first year that they built the garden beds was in 2014, and then in 2015 the school reached out to us and asked us to help support with programming as well as help with the space itself. It's been really wonderful. I think, you know, there's a lot of curiosity that is kind of fulfilled and encouraged in the outdoor and like the growing spaces, and it's been really wonderful. I think one of my favorite things is when we get to learn about even like the benefits of different weeds. And one of the teens in previous years found this really wonderful quote that was, every plant is a weed until you get to know it. And I always thought that was really special. I really like flowers, so anywhere that there's like flowers sprinkled, I really enjoy those like pops of colors and that extra joy that it adds to the space. These are called afternoon white cosmos, and they're just a really beautiful kind of delicate flower. And then these are marigolds, and yeah, a couple different varieties of them throughout the space. Yeah. So we were approached by Jonathan Kelly, who you may know, and some other community members for trying to create a pop-up museum with a retrofitted shipping container in the space to be able to create more community exhibit type of projects, and that was started last year.
Because they asked us, at that time I was working full-time, so I needed some time to make available so I can retire from work. Well, I did that, and then Faith in Place met with me. We had a team of gardeners, and when I say Faith in Place, we're on it because they brought the right people, and those people came and showed me exactly what I need to do to get this garden established. And it happened just 2 years ago in 2019, so this is our 2nd year. And what you have here as our design is just a floral garden and also a vegetable garden. And I'm going to walk you over here to our love fridge. And this has been dynamic, particularly in the season in which we're living in, where it's hard for families to get food because families, husbands, wives, loved ones have lost jobs due to COVID. And we were happy when we received information from Love Fridge. They have refrigerators where I want to open it up for you and show you what's available. And this is just today, but we've had all types of foods being delivered, dropped off. Love Fridge, they also bring us food, but fresh fruit, produce, and vegetables are here. And we also get deliveries of meat.
We're on 16th and Ridgeway. We're like 1 block away from the space that Dr. Martin Luther King stayed in when he was here in Chicago, and he actually was here. He was speaking at various churches, and one of them was the Church of the Brethren, and also Stone Temple, and he was here to talk about the housing and other opportunities that black folks wasn't getting at the time. And so we call this the Martin Luther King District Garden because we have that, and also we used to have a little garden space across from the building on Hamlin, where he used to stay on 16th and Hamlin. I think in terms of food, this garden already has supplies the neighborhood, certain of our neighbors with the food that they need to supplement their plate. And we also wanted to take the food and have food classes to show people how to use some of the food. Like and one of the foods that people don't use that we have a lot of, or traditionally had a lot of, was like butternut squash. We had other squashes, like I got a old squash that the Native Americans used to grow. So many times people don't partake of some of the food because they don't know how to prepare it. And so that was our intention, is to teach the neighborhood how to do that. And sometimes we teach people how to come in and harvest the food too. Okay. Well, this garden originally began in the mid-1990s. In 2009, in July, we had the dedication for this garden, and we had open lands was a part of that. Neighbor space is always a part of it because this is a neighbor space garden. Before the neighborhood changed, the Bohemians had a lot of influence, and they used to have, they built the Greystones. So that architecture they had is like historic now, and we wanted to teach young people about trees, their importance to the environment. We have a red path as a walking element. You can walk around. We have benches to store tools, but we have some apple trees, some crab apple trees. We have some service berries. We have some oak trees, and then we have various shrubs in the garden to make it kind of colorful and interesting. Yeah, well, all of our gardens are tools for community building. It's a place to come and relax and have community events. And this garden also has been used by the neighbors to have picnics and things like that. There are over 40 gardens in North Lawndale, and the Greening Committee helps maintain about 21, 22 of them. And so we're connected in that way. One aspect of a garden that I really like and that I usually talk to young people about is there's the jungle and there's a garden, and that's like a metaphor for life.
So hi, my name's Karen Castleberry. I'm a lifelong resident of North Lawndale. Sears wanted to create an environment where their employees could come out and enjoy fresh air and come out of the dark warehouses and enjoy their lunch breaks and their breaks, partake of the beautiful flowers, the fragrant flowers, the beautiful colorful designs. The garden would bloom from early spring until late fall, and so employees had an opportunity, as well as the members of the community had an opportunity, to come and sit in the park, sit on the park benches, have a picnic in the park, and enjoy the beautiful, beautiful foliage that was birthed here in the Sears Sunken Garden. As you see standing here, this is a pergola who has the columns and the pergola that is a feature of Greek architect. So on the front lawn of the garden, you'll see about 18 flagpoles representing different nations. The center was the flag for the United States, and there were 17 other nations whose flags flew high on the flagpoles here. You have several planters throughout the garden that was full of perennial flowers. There were lots of bulbs. It was a very colorful garden. You had a lot of tulips in the springtime. You had a lot of petunias and cannons of all sorts.
Okay, this garden was started by the North Lawndale Small Grants Human Development Corporation back in 2001, and this was vacant land. It was a haven for drugs and alcoholic beverages, just everything. So as the board of directors would come to their meetings, we was like, that can't be. Neighbors First, which though I can't say enough about them, they held our hand. So okay, we'll get you the land. We developed the combined block club. 12th place and Central Park became one. Because you need community input to do something like this, major thing like this. So, well, what about an African garden? African heritage, African American community, made a lot of sense. Then we collaborate with the Safer Foundation, which is a work release program. That's give us that manual labor, as well as most of those guys was from North Lawndale. So they were buying back into the community. They would come out here, and I remember one of them said to me, you know, Miss Blanche, I feel so peaceful and safe. And that's the intention of this garden. The continent of Africa. The continent of Africa represents the land that we're from. There are many, I'll put it plain for a lot of people that don't understand, states, if you will, in the continent of Africa. So that's why you see a multitude of perennials. We used to put annuals there. So now it's perennials, something that would always come back. It's shaped like the continent of Africa. And it's to culturally teach the neighborhood about their ancestors, about their roots, about where we're from. We're not just from the South, we're from Africa. All parts of Africa. So this cultural experience you're going to have when you come into the African garden, when you leave here, you will feel it.